listening to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network. Listen in as Brent and Dave invite you to belly up to the bar with them to talk about everything in the world of sports, just like you would do at your favorite watering hole. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so belly up to the bar with us, grab a beverage, and let's get into it.
More tonight's show brought to you by Manscaped and manscaped.com. Use promo code 1420escape at manscaped.com for all of their men's and women's personal grooming needs right there at manscaped.com. Thank you to Manscaped for supporting us. Dave, it's been a week since we've talked here in the sports bar. You were busy all week long with the curling Bonspiel. How's things, my friend?
Things are good now. Gotta say, curling became a job this weekend, my friend. It's small town Bonspiel for people that don't know. It's a little bit of a Canadian prairie thing. It's so fun. You drink, you smoke, you tell stories. You have a big old huge roast beef supper, and you gamble. Like, there's money flying everywhere on these things. It's kind of cool. It's old school and it's fun. The team ourselves, we won 2, we lost 2, ended up out of the money, which is a little bit disappointing. There was a couple games we were in every game, and so I'm a little disappointed that we did not do better. But we had fun. I love my team, and we did okay, and we were in every game. Could have done better.
Well, you can, unless you win, you can always do better, right? It's one of those magical things in the world of sports. You can always, unless you're striving for mediocrity, like most teams actually end up doing in the world of sports. But curling is maybe you might know, or you might not. But why isn't it just called a tournament and it's called a Bonspiel? I've never understood that.
I've never looked it up. But it's something that I don't care to find out, because Bonspiel is a fun word to say. It's kind of like when you go someplace and are you going there for the buffet, or are you going there for the smorgasbord?
Well, and that's the thing. Like you can. Are you curling this weekend, or you're Bonspieling this weekend? They're two completely different things.
They're
completely different things. I remember, like, this was a long time ago when we used to go to the Fort McLeod Bonspiel. We were Bonspieling. We weren't curling. If we happened to fall into a win or two, that was bonus round. But we were Bonspieling. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, Bonspieling means you're sitting at the rink having beers, playing cards. And just, for lack of a better term, old school fun, right? It's just, it's a big old sausage party, but there's 20 other teams having a sausage party with you.
The over the weekend too, we went through daylight savings or daylight endings, or I don't know what the fuck it's called anymore, because one's this way and one's that way, and it's Mountain Standard Time and Mountain. I can't figure it out. Dave, I'm not a big proponent when people start bitching about how more tired they are, and they lose a week of sleep and things get all turned upside down. I don't get it. Just it's coming. Go to bed earlier, and then the next day, like 9. Okay. Most of the working population, like 90%, works Monday to Friday. Most people do fuck all on Sundays. They do. You watch sports, you run some errands, you sit around, you sit in your phone, you do nothing. And people on Monday morning, they're complaining about, oh, I'm so tired. I lost that hour. I can't believe. Get fucked.
I do agree with you. But this weekend, I am a big proponent of let's say goodbye to daylight savings time, because we were Bonspieling out of town. We Bonspieled a bit, and then
out of town. He was half an hour away from his front door.
That's out of town, right? So someone has to stay sober, and then so we drove back in. We played some cards, ordered some pizza. It was 1:00 when I hit the bed, but for these old bones, that's now 2:00, and we had to be back a half hour away for a 9:00 game, which was actually 8:00. These old bones don't operate with a hangover with 5 hours of sleep like they once did.
No, I get that
Because also these old bones need breakfast and a coffee. I can't just brush my teeth,
I
scrub my ass,
understand
and
that,
get
but
there.
most people have a situation where they don't. It's not a they're not
Not
doing
everybody's
anything.
not everybody's Bonspieling.
That's
Yes.
right. Most people got to get groceries. So sleep a little longer and then go get your fucking groceries. Like
Yeah, and go to bed
these
an
national
hour later.
referendums about this and people complaining and saying their lives are ruined for a week and like have a nap on a Sunday afternoon then. No, like I don't know.
I agree. Because we lost, we lost that Sunday game. And then so I was back in my home, showered, clean by noon. And you know what? I had a nap. I didn't even watch Shifley win the TPC. I watched him on, I think, 16. No, I didn't even see him hit the island green. I was zonked. So good.
He's got the karma going for him. Hey, we're going to talk about this. So that boy's got some karma going for him. He's playing some good golf, but I think he's a nice guy. That doesn't hurt with the way that the world of golf is nowadays with the live and blah blah blah, blah and the way it goes. And he's and since I saw him on that whatever that Netflix documentary is about golf, I quite like him. And it's not he's a nice Christian boy. He's got some good karma going for him right now in the way he's playing leading up to Masters.
Well, and good for him. It was nice that it wasn't riveting. He was ahead by 5 strokes when I fell asleep, and I was able to watch the finals of the Briar. Gushu, that Dunstone is now getting the reputation of a choker, which I don't not disagree with. And so there was curling all over the place. I was curling. The pros were curling. We had golf on TV. Who am I to bitch about daylight savings?
Exactly. I don't get it. Like everything was on TV. Like I woke up yesterday morning. I was like, oh yeah, clocks done.
Yeah,
Done.
the kid was away playing with friends, and the wife said no, we weren't planning on having you home for a bit, and so I found some couch.
Like when I used to participate in sports a lot more, like as a player and everything else, and like at curling or baseball or soccer or hockey, whatever it was, and you get into Sundays and like you're competitive, but do you ever go? Well, you look around the room or you look to your teammates and you don't say it out loud, but do you kind of go, we lost this one, it wouldn't really break my heart too much.
See, for us, it wasn't that at all. And that was the thing, because if we would have won our first game, we had to play back to back on Saturday night. But if we would have won, we wouldn't have had to play till Sunday at 11. And then
that's a game changer then, yeah.
Yes. So then we lost and had to play a game right after ours, which we won, which gave us the privilege of playing at 9 a.m. on Sunday. And then we lost, right? And then and the game we lost on Saturday was close. We lost by a point.
Yeah, because once you're playing, we'll get into the meat
you keep a score for a reason, right? And there's prize money.
Like once you're out there and competing, it's one thing. But beforehand, sometimes you go, geez, if we lost this one, I don't got to be here tomorrow. Like you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that it gets into your coconut a little bit. You're like, yeah, I could get used to not playing tomorrow. Like it's just one of those things. But once you're out there competing, you try as hard as you can. You don't want to let your teammates down. But there is a time or two where you're like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Well, especially on hockey, you have 15 to 20 guys out there, so it only takes. But like in curling, you're 4 and you're looking each other in the eye all the time, right? So.
Hockey runs like wildfire the way. Like when you get a group of guys, especially getting up into our age, and you can look around the room and you just go, it's like a game of telephone. Hey, if we lose, we can kind of go home and don't got to play again. And it kind of just goes, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. And it's just like, yeah, let's mail it in. We're out of here in an hour and a half. We'll see you later. All good. But anyways, Dave, since we spoke last, a lot's been happening around the NFL world. Quarterback centric, obviously, it's the most important position in professional sports. Some think it's crazy the money that's been bantied about for guys who didn't really do a whole bunch last year, guys who got released and the like, and everything else that's been happening throughout the world of the National Football League. There's a lot of theories out there. Aaron Rodgers was reported to have been traded this afternoon from Green Bay to the New York Jets. It hasn't been officially until Adam Schefter says it. It's not completely official and the whole bit. And there's money been going about probably the one guy who hasn't been signed yet or traded or anything else. And he represents himself. And maybe that might end up being a mistake. Is Lamar Jackson? It's crazy the way that the money and the trades and quarterbacks are moving in and out. And you look what's happened in the last since we talked last Monday. So much has gone on, and not one team, in my opinion, has made a move that made themselves any better to challenge the Super Bowl champions.
Well, you got to think about that. Like, it's not even challenging the Super Bowl champions. It's like, are you making your team better? When the Saints signed Derek Carr, I believe that made them better. With when the Raiders signed Garoppolo,
yeah,
I don't know if that made them better.
They're a worse team than they were this time last year.
On paper they are, but McDaniels, whatever. He's the one that was there when Garoppolo got his rings with New England. And who knows what kind of integral role Gorgeous Jim played on those teams. But nonetheless, he has 2 rings. The one that makes me scratch my head a bit, but I kind of get it, is Daniel Jones with the Jets, giving that guy
Giants.
40 mil per. Oh, sorry, I said Jets.
Yeah,
with the Giants. That's a bit of a head scratch because, yes, he did have a great year last year, with no targets. If they're going to commit to him for that kind of dough, it tells me they're going to give him some better targets, and they're going to. And then why would you? Everybody's saying, like, what about Saquon? He's so much better. Yeah, but a running back is 1 year away from being done. Look at Ezekiel Elliott, right? You can't commit long-term big money to a back, especially when you franchise him and you only have to pay him $10.5 million. Like, that's just a strategic position. And I'm sorry, it's the NFL, and we're running a business. And why would I pay you 25 when I can pay you 10?
Well, and that's just it. That's a huge thing, and giving these quarterbacks this kind of money to not do anything. And speaking of money, and like we always say, we don't like to talk about money, but it always comes up because professional sports. So it's going to come up no matter what. If the Green Bay Packers do finally bid adieu to Aaron Rodgers, that's a lot of dough to get one championship, man. And that's why I'm kind of like, I get it. A quarterback of his stature, one of the top whatever of all time, top 10 guys of all time, stats wise, everything else. But geez, you got to think that somehow, somewhere, the American Legion of Green Bay, who kind of owns the team there, kind of wants a bit of a refund, because what did they get for that kind of money over the years? Because man, oh man, and that's got to be a bit of a warning to other teams, like, okay, yeah, we pay this much for a quarterback, but really, what did we get out of it? We sell out no matter what. The TV deals are this no matter what. We got one championship out of this guy. Maybe this should be a warning for a lot of teams, like, well, watch where you spend your money, man, because to me, all those years with one championship out of Aaron Rodgers, and then and the headaches that they've had the last couple of years, it ain't worth it.
Oh, I completely disagree. I would have loved to have been a Green Bay fan for the last 15 years with that guy quarterbacking my team. They had a chance. They were there. He underperformed in the playoffs, but I believe three times NFL MVP. That's ridiculous how good he is, how good he was. And whether it was management not putting the right pieces around him, because they didn't really get handcuffed with his salary until the last couple of years, and that I get, and that happens, and that's the new business of sport in a salary cap world. You have to have someone who really knows what they're doing, pulling the strings and looking for things. And I got to think too, like, if people are going to want to play for Kansas City for at a reduced salary for a chance at a championship. Because Kansas City, like, I honestly don't know the answer to this question. When you play for the Packers, do you live in Green Bay, Wisconsin?
I would.
How fun can that
I would
be?
assume so. Like I don't know how far it is from Madison or from
Or
Milwaukee or
Milwaukee.
whatever. But like I think you might not. You might fly in, like you get Mondays off, right? It's a Monday off day, but then you practice Tuesdays. Yeah, you probably do for the season. Like there's no way you couldn't. Like there's no way you couldn't.
You got to think, right? And I'm assuming Green Bay has a nice indoor practice facility and what have you. But then like just like you're gonna bring your family there and you're gonna go out for dinner. Like where the fuck are you gonna go out for dinner in Green Bay,
There's
Wisconsin? Like
always somewhere. Doesn't matter
would
where you
they
are. It's
even
who you're
have
with.
an Applebee's or a Chipotle or something like that?
Well, I'm
They're just
assuming they do. It's just
it's gonna be a lot of cheese and steak, is what I'm guessing.
but when you're making 35 million bucks a year, you'll find a way to be fed
So,
and
but
watered.
no,
Right.
that's exactly my point. But like, so when you're doing this, but like the other players like that are willing to take a little bit less to chase a championship, uh, I'll give you 12 million to live in Green Bay, or I'll give you 10 million to live in Jacksonville. Jacksonville, like fuck every day. No.
I don't know, man. That's in Florida's a bit gritty. Like I've been a few times. It's a
Well, okay.
bit,
Well, then, like, let's say
yeah,
Houston, let's say Arizona, let's say
yeah.
Kansas
No,
City,
I get
let's say
that.
Denver. Like, it's just, I think I got sidetracked there a little bit, but like just because of the eliteness of your quarterback and the chances of your team, it makes me wonder if the management team there is a little bit hamstrung getting cheap talent there because of their location.
No, I wouldn't think so, Dave. I mean, guys want to play, and you get drafted, and you draft and develop, and everything else. The NFL is pretty good at that because guys have yeah, signing free agents might be a bit tougher, and I get that. But if it's such a bad place to play and everything else, why wasn't Aaron Rodgers leaving? Like this great talent that he is. Why wasn't he leaving when he had the first chance he got? Right. Like what
Yeah, and
like
I get it.
if that's the situation, why wasn't he leaving? Why didn't Brett Favre ever leave? Like they've had two quarterbacks in the last 30 fucking years and they have two championships. And
Yeah.
it's an odd thing. And the money that they've spent on these guys, and maybe it is because maybe these guys made people around them better, which a good quarterback does, which with great quarterbacks, not good quarterbacks, great quarterbacks make people around them better. Good ones make people just a little bit better, right? And so it's a bit of a head scratcher to me that they only got the one championship out of Aaron Rodgers and the money they spent, and then now like in going like let's say it like when this airs tomorrow, if the Jets get him for a year, it's not a horrible deal. Like if he's there for a year, but don't keep doing it year after year after year. Like eventually you have to move away from that. And I had a guy on our baseball tour there, and he said he was like, I honestly don't care if he comes back or not. Like just end it. If he's done, just be done with it and just go away. If you're gonna go away, just go. Like enough. Like just like I'm over it.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said with that too, right? Because Brett Favre dragged it on. He was the first one to to wishy-washy, I'm in, I'm out, and this kind of thing. He was the first prima donna, the baby about the whole fucking thing. And then there wasn't much after that until Brady was like, am I doing it? Am I not? Am I doing it? Am I not? Like, and I agree with what you're saying. If you don't want to retire, then don't retire, right? Like, just don't say anything. Where are you going to play next year? But I'll let you know. I'll let you know, right? Instead of like, as opposed to this, I'm stepping away from the game. No, I'm back. Like that kind of shit. That's childish and it's
So I
disrespectful to the fans. And
Yeah,
and it
like
and it handcuffs
if I
teams.
was like if I was management, I would be a bit of a dick about it, and I'd say, listen, asshole, we've given you $375 million or whatever it may be over X amount of years. You've delivered one championship. Tell us today whether you're playing or not, because you know what, we'll lose without you too.
Exactly. And like you're on the books
You
for
know what?
$45 million
Fuck
next year.
off.
Yeah, exactly. Total fuck off. And like someone like Brady is like, if he picks up the phone and says San Fran and he says, hey, I'm thinking about playing for you guys next year, get $15 million. That's an insult. I go like, if you want a chance to win with us This is what we need salary cap wise. $15 million, and we'll call you back tomorrow.
You know,
Fuck off.
yeah,
Right?
it's
Do you want to
insane.
play as your competitive fire so hungry? You got $700 million in the goddamn bank.
At least.
You're not doing this for money. You're doing it for another chance to win. We'll give you $15 million to give us a chance to win.
Yeah, it's crazy that these guys, and that's the thing I wanted to lead into here. It's a pretty good segue, actually. I wanted to lead into this about these quarterbacks who are making so much money, and they're just jumping around the league from team to team. Like I got a list here of 10 guys who started elsewhere last year, and now they're playing for different teams. And I don't think anybody's any better. The team might be better, but there isn't any teams that are any that much closer to a championship. Like they're just not.
And that's the thing we got to talk about then. Like, are they closer to a championship or are they better? Because like we always say, we can make a list of 5 teams right now, and the Super Bowl champion is coming out of that.
Yeah. So what's the point? Like, what is
10.
the point of giving these guys all this money? Because the stadiums are full no matter what. Your contracts, like your TV contracts, are this no matter what. So why is it that you're giving these quarterbacks money just to be a little bit better, to go from fucking 10-6 to 9 or to 10-6 to 11-5?
Fans want to see the home team win. And I completely agree with that. I don't think the Denver Broncos are going to win the Super Bowl next year. And so, by your logic, everybody said that's not the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, Brock, what's the fucking point, right? You know, the Bills have gotten their heart broken.
Here's my point. If there's a team that's really, really close, like if there's a team that's licking the jar, let's throw a team out there. Just name a team.
Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Philadelphia. There you go. There's 3. And San Fran. There's 4.
Don't need. Okay, if San Fran was serious about it, they would go out and sign Lamar Jackson. Throw him an offer.
Yeah, I don't think that works for their system, though. Right? They've Shanahan and Lynch have assembled a team that doesn't really
win.
Mesh with no.
It doesn't really win.
Well, I'm gonna like I say, I'm gonna give them a pass last year because of the injury woes at quarterback position.
Yeah,
I will give them a pass, but they've assembled a team that doesn't really mesh with Lamar Jackson's skill set, which is a ridiculously high skill set. Don't I'm not besmirching.
Would he not make it's not Thursday? We don't besmirch on Mondays. But like if Jackson's all that and a bag of chips, which he is, would he not bring them the ultimate goal of a Super Bowl?
It stands to reason.
He'd be closer than they are right now.
He's better than Gorgeous Jim. He's better than Trey Lance. No,
he's definitely better than Sam Darnold, who they signed today.
Yeah,
a lot less money, obviously, but
yeah, San Fran seems content without having difference makers at the quarterback position
and don't win.
And but lick the jar consistently. And any given Sunday, like when you're licking the jar every year, like San Francisco's success in the postseason is an absolute head scratcher to me. How those fuckers seem to do it every other year. They're in the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game. Like they have something figured out. Excuse me.
The thing that boggles my mind about Lamar Jackson is that he represents himself, so that might hurt him a little bit. But slimy lawyer agents might not be a bad thing to stay away from. And he seems like a quality guy and doesn't have a contract yet for next year. And he bet on himself, got hurt a little bit and everything else. Everybody gets hurt no matter what sport you're in. But Jackson, and I don't think it's collusion. I think that there's a situation where there's a lot of teams that could use Lamar Jackson, but they don't want to give up a couple of draft picks. If they went out, I think it's the 15th, which is Wednesday, they can go out and sign him to a deal that Baltimore could match. Now, and I don't know the ins and outs, so I do a little bit, but it gets long-winded and lawyers speak and everything else and agents speak, so I'm not going to get into it. But you wonder why if a team thinks they're close, which the Jets think they're close, because they have an all-world defense, they actually do. Why they wouldn't go out and say, here, here's $48 million a year, and I don't think it's the guaranteed money thing because you can always find a way to get out of that and everything else. I find it odd that Jackson's on the outside looking in when all these guys are moving around here and there and everywhere, and Jackson's one of the top 5-6 quarterbacks in the league, and he doesn't have a place to play next year right now.
I'm going to say two things: term and guaranteed money, because guaranteed money does make a big difference in the hard cap NFL. Like, you can't move money around. Like, that's less money you have to spend on everything and for the length of the contract. My concern would be, and I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's a game changer. He's an exciting quarterback to watch. People say he's not a throwing quarterback, but they've never really given him receivers. I think he could be better than the body of work he's put up in the past. Here's the problem. Injury woes are a concern, and that was never more evident than this past year. And then term, right? Like, look at Cam Newton. Cam Newton was a revolutionary quarterback. Like, Cam Newton was Lamar before Lamar. He can move, he can run, he can do everything, but then he got beat down. And now Lamar's missed more game. I won't say considerable amount of time. He's missed a bit of games in the last 3 years since his MVP season. And I, as a franchise, even as Baltimore, I get it. They don't want to commit to 6 to 7 to 8 years with this guy. I totally get it, because he's one down away from a blown knee. And then, you know what? He's going to make a full recovery and he's going to be fully healthy. But you know what? He's a step slower. And Baltimore, I blame them a bit, because they haven't ever given him a decent receiving core to throw to. He's a very accurate passer. Anyone that says he's not a passing quarterback and doesn't have the ability to do that is full of beans, and they haven't ever looked at him play the game. Like, he throws an accurate ball. That fucker Hollywood Smith, I think he was, who went and signed with, I believe, Arizona. He's fucking terrible.
I don't know. I've never heard that name before in my life.
Oh no, it's Hollywood something. Jones or Smith or whatever. And I believe he went to
You made that up.
I did.
Hollywood
not.
Smith?
Hollywood, like, it's Hollywood something. Trust me.
His first name's Hollywood?
That's his handle. I don't know if that's his birth name. But like,
fuck me.
People that know they'll know that I'm right and you're wrong.
Well, I didn't say you were wrong. I just said I never heard it.
That fucker dropped so many balls. Like, it was ridiculous how many balls he dropped. And, you know, I'm not a Baltimore fan, but I've had Lamar Jackson on my fantasy team for the last 3 years. And so I end up watching the odd Baltimore game. I'm not keeping Lamar Smith this year. You're only allowed one keeper. It's not going to be him. I don't know who it is, but that's a different discussion. I don't know if Lamar Jackson is worth signing guaranteed money for more than 5 years, because as a franchise, as a fan, I'd be extremely concerned about his durability and what he's going to look like 5 years down the road.
Okay, but then see, you're not talking on both sides of your mouth, but this doesn't make sense when you go out and you give Daniel Jones, who's a quarter of the quarterback that Lamar Jackson is, and you give him $180 million over 4 years. Like, there's something not right here, man. Like, there's something. Like, there's some guys that make a lot of money that aren't going to win. You like whatever Carr got in New Orleans, whatever Carr got in Oakland, and then this guy's not getting paid, and he's better than all those guys. And the guy who's licking his chops now that if you want to talk about it, who's licking his chops a little bit, is Joe Burrow. What's he going to get if Jones got 180 million over 4? What's Burrow going to get?
I believe Jones got 160, like 42.
Then there's a signing bonus or a performance bonus in there and everywhere else, but that's still pretty good. I think like, I don't know. Like, what's Burrow going to get?
I think Lamar wants like a Deshaun Watson contract. And so I'm going to blame Cleveland for signing that deal. They had no business. I
So
can't
did
imagine.
Cleveland drove up the quarterback prices. Now nobody can afford a quarterback. Or actually, you know what? That's not even true. They can afford quarterbacks. They can't afford the rest of the team.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right. You know, and Cleveland, like, time is going to tell, but like I'll be shocked if Cleveland makes the playoffs more than 3 times in Deshaun Watson's career, because they're hamstrung financially, and they're the shit stains, right? They got Dirty the Elf in the middle of the field, and what are they going to do with that pervert quarterbacking and being the face of their franchise?
Wow,
They deserve every bad thing that happens to them.
You know,
and
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just Cleveland kind of fucked the market for everybody. Like, Mahomes, say what you will, deserves that thing. He's a game changer. He plays that position like nobody else can, and he doesn't put himself in jeopardy. Whereas a player like Lamar does. A player like Kyler Murray does, and Kyler Murray hasn't proved squat. And it's kind of funny how shitty teams like Arizona and Cleveland are the ones totally bunging up this entire quarterback market.
So that's the thing. Is so every team is actually going to be worse because of it. Every team is going to be actually not worse. They still have the best players, but every other player should actually blame Cleveland because of what they signed Watson for, because all these other guys can't make any money now because, well, this is our cap, this is what we are, and and so all these prima donna quarterbacks, which they are, and they're told that from a young age, or they're like starting pitchers in baseball. They're told at a young age how great they are, and you're going to get this, and you're the king of the school, and you're the king of this school, and then you get drafted first overall, and most of you don't actually amount to fuck all, because they don't. You look at the first overall draft picks in the last 10 years, guys that were quarterbacks that are out of the league now. Like there's lost, like Rosen, right? For first rounder. You look at
Darnold and Baker Mayfield.
And on and on and on. You could keep going. And these guys aren't that good, but they end up getting, because, well, he's got to be good. We gave him this much money, so we have to play him.
Yeah, but what,
so the rest of the Players Association should actually be pissed off at quarterbacks and, fuck, you're not that fucking good, but you're making $35 million because you're good on a billboard. Because that's what most of them are.
It is the front man for a band, right? Like that's it. Whether our songs rock or suck, we got to get someone out there to sing and talk to the crowd, and we might as well get the pretty one. But like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Like Cleveland doing this with Deshaun Watson is such a
that screwed players throughout the league.
He's a massive talent. Like the shit he did at Auburn in college, and how well he played with Houston. But once these allegations and lawsuits and the whole mess came through, you chose to give him the most guaranteed money of any player in NFL history to be the face of your franchise, when all this crap we're talking about isn't even settled and underground yet.
It screwed every other fucking NFL player.
Goodness, Cleveland, just go jam it.
Because now every other quarterback is going to say, well, I'm a good guy, so I deserve a little bit more money. I've actually played, so I deserve a little more money. I've done this, so I deserve a little more money. I've actually won 5 games in the last 2 years, so I deserve more money. And they're going to get it, because that's what the agents will say.
But here, I think the NFL teams are saying, no, you're not going to get it, because that was ridiculous, and it's ridiculous, and it was a dumb thing to do, and we're not going to do that. If you want that, go to Cleveland, because we're not signing that because we actually have some trophies on our fucking mantle.
I don't know when.
If no one's going to sign you, then no one's going to sign you.
When Burrow and Lawrence and the like get come up for their contracts, they're going to get signed, and they're going to be making more than what Mahomes is making.
Nope, I disagree.
I don't know, man. Owners are stupid. Owners are fucking stupid.
I understand that owners are stupid, but agents, I'm positive, don't make money only on their NFL contract. They'll sign them to do this, to be a spokesperson for Nike, for Adidas, for budget rent a car.
I don't know. Like it just seems to me that these guys These guys they do what they want when they want and how they want it done. And if you're telling me, Dave, that the Cincinnati Bengals, their fan base, like you said, the fans want their team to win. If let's just say that the Bengals said, you know what, Burrow, go find money somewhere else. What would the revolt be?
Oh, the fans would be ridiculously
Exactly.
mad,
So they have
right?
to give him whatever he wants. They have to give him whatever he wants.
Actually, they don't. And like I'm
But
going
they
to say
do.
this. No, listen now. The Buffalo Bills announced today that they restructured Von Miller and Josh Allen's contracts to save them $32 million. So now they have $32 million to sign players for next year. Those players are taking less money to give their team a better chance to win. Brady did it his entire career.
Not many guys do
Brady
that, though,
never
Dave.
made max money.
Not many guys do that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like we're here to win as a franchise. If you want to be a part of it, you're going to get rewarded handsomely. But we're not giving you max money, because if we give you max money as a quarterback, we're not going to win. And here's the examples why.
Then why do these owners and GMs, why do they give them the money in the first place?
Because they're dumb. Because they're dumb. Like I don't know it,
so that's what I'm getting at. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of having these agents and lawyers and everybody else sit in a room for 4 months and fan bases freak out about it? Like, oh, I don't know if we're going to sign them. I don't know what's going on here. And all the talking heads on TV and podcasts and everybody else. So then don't give them that money in the first place, and then you don't have to restructure it later on.
See, and I get it.
What am I missing here?
Only winners restructure, right? You know, Deshaun with Cleveland. Like, you think that asshat is going to restructure? Kyler Murray in Arizona. I can't believe it. I laughed out loud when I found out Arizona caved to his demands. I would have let him fucking walk. I would have let him walk. And now you're tied to this subpar quarterback for 5 more years. And maybe it's because I don't know why. Like, you know what? I don't know why. And it's a head scratch. And that's why GMs lose jobs and why coaches lose jobs, because an agent maybe gets the coach or GM drunk on a Saturday night in Tokyo.
You know,
I don't know.
You got all these guys coming into the league right away. We'll go to a break here in a second, but you got all these guys coming to the league year in, year out of Alabama and Wichita and wherever, and they're the next coming of God knows what. And there's still only 30 teams, right? And so all these guys have big hopes and big dreams and everything else, and most of them don't pan out. Most of them don't win Super Bowls. They all end up getting paid ridiculous amounts of money, and I don't understand how this goes on year in, year out. How this is our guy, and let's give him $140 million guaranteed in his first 4 years of football, or 5 years or 6 years, whatever it may be. I don't get it, because there is no way that if I was in charge of these teams when a kid came out of college and we were our last place team, I'm gonna say, yeah, here's 12 mil.
Well, that's the thing, right? You know, the rookie salary cap was put in place.
Like, we're terrible, but you know what? You seem like a nice kid. You went to the college football playoff, didn't win, but here's $13 million for your quarterback. I don't get that. I do not get that.
No, I do not either. You know, and I'm going to imagine that Mahomes is going to restructure his contract in a year or two. But until, like, if they don't win, or say, like, you know, if we had 5 million more, we can sign this guy, and if he's up for it, he's up for it. But he's won 2. I think he's proved the ability. He's shown the ability to be the difference maker. He's going to make players around him better. And I don't think players like Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray and Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, I don't think they make players around them better. You know, even someone like Sam Bradford has shown that Sam Bradford. Matt Stafford has shown when healthy, he can make players look really, really, really good. Cooper Kupp, Austin, OBJ, like whoever. Russell Wilson has shown that he can make players look better. Aaron Rodgers has shown he can make players better. Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray have not shown that they can make players look good.
Yeah, the whole thing is odd to me how they restructure and don't give it to him. Like if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. I'd love to drive a Ferrari. Can't afford it.
Yep.
Well,
we'll put you on a payment plan. Yeah.
It's that simple. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk and a whole lot more, brought to you by Manscaped and Manscaped.com. Use promo code 1420skate at Manscaped.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.